Well, let's bring in Mike Hanna now, who joins us live from Washington, D.C. Mike, as I just said, this is the third consecutive cut this year. Not an unexpected outcome, but what does this say about how the Fed perceives the state of the U.S. economy?
Well, let's just take a look back at the year. The rate remained stable throughout the first 6 months, and then in September came a whopping 1% increase, followed by these two quarter percents, the 0.5%, 0.25%. We basically got the rates dropped by 2% in the past few months. Now, this does reflect, as the Fed says, a confidence in an economy in which inflation is ticking over just over 2.1%. Unemployment is in the region of 4.2%. These are figures that the Fed likes. It gives the Fed the space to operate as it sees, cautiously, but with an optimistic form of caution. One that is an interesting point, though, is the projections for the rate drops in the years to come, 25, 26. Now, it had been expected that there be 4 interest rate cuts 25, 4 interest rate cuts 26, but the Fed has indicated that it's going to cut these. In other words, it's going to be 2 interest rate cuts in next year and possibly 2 interest rate cuts in 26. Now, these are projections, but it's a sign of how cautiously the Fed is moving while it struggles to keep inflation where it is, not going up, unemployment rate where it is, not going up. So it's once again that delicate balance that the Fed tries to hit every time it gets together.
And Mike, meanwhile, of course, you've already alluded to potential future projections, but of course, we're only weeks away from the inauguration of President-elect Donald Trump. Of course, with what he's talked about in terms of the threat of tariffs on imported goods, what are the potential implications for future cuts?
Well, the Fed's not talking about that publicly, although it has indicated that it will only have 2 cuts next year. However, it is aware of what problems possibly loom. That question of tariffs, for example. The president-elect insists that it's importers who pay these tariffs. Actually, it's not. It's U.S. importers who pay it and then pass the price on to consumers. So there would be an uptick in inflation. The Fed is well aware of this. And the key issue here, and perhaps why it's predicting only 2 rate cuts next year, is it doesn't want to cut too much and then get into a situation where the economy says, hey, you've got to increase the rates. The administration, the Trump administration, does not like any cut in rates at all. So you're in a situation where the Fed is trying to position itself as not having to get into any conflict with the administration by raising rates because it cut them too much when the administration doesn't want to do. This being said, though, of course, the Fed is supposed to operate totally independently from any administration. However, we saw in the previous Trump administration that that is not necessarily the case.
Thank you so much, Mike. That's Mike Hanna reporting from Washington, D.C.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.